The stars were calm that night. The small human ship Horizon's Edge drifted silently near the border of the Andric sector, a forgotten edge of space where nothing ever happened. It was one of the oldest ships still flying, with rust marks across its hull and weak shields that flickered now and then. Most alien races thought of it as nothing more than space junk. Inside, Captain Lyra sat in her chair, staring at the black void beyond the window. The crew was small, only 12 people, most of them engineers and scientists, not soldiers. They were on a quiet survey mission, studying dust clouds and strange radiation fields. No one expected danger. Not here. But something was coming. Far away, hidden behind an asteroid field, a fleet of alien ships watched them. The Xeron Collective, a proud and ruthless species that believed humans were weak and reckless, had found their target. Their commander, General Krev, smiled inside his armored cockpit. "Pathetic," Krev said. "They send this broken ship to guard the border? Humanity truly underestimates us." His second-in-command, a smaller alien with cold silver eyes, nodded. "It will be easy, sir. No escort. No defense platforms nearby. Should we capture or destroy?" "Destroy," Krev replied. "Let the galaxy see how easily humans fall." The Xeron ships powered their weapons. Back on Horizon's Edge, the ship sensors began to beep. Lieutenant Rami frowned at his screen. "Captain, I'm picking up multiple energy signatures. They're fast. Very fast." Lyra stood up. "How many?" "At least 6. No, wait, 8. Rami's voice shook. "They're closing in, weapons hot." Lyra's heartbeat quickened. She hit the ship-wide intercom. "All hands, battle stations." The small crew moved quickly, though fear was clear in their eyes. They knew their ship wasn't built for war. The shields could barely hold for a few seconds under real firepower. "Send a distress signal to command," Lyra ordered. "Now." Rami nodded and began transmitting. But deep down, everyone knew, help would take hours to arrive. The first plasma bolt hit. The whole ship shook violently, lights flickering. Sparks flew from a console near the engine room. A young engineer screamed as smoke filled the corridor. "Return fire," Lyra shouted. The ship's old cannons rotated and fired, 2 weak bursts of blue light that barely scratched the alien shields. Krev laughed. "Pathetic," he said again. "End this." The Xeron ships fired in unison. The Horizon's Edge twisted in space, one of its engines breaking apart in a cloud of metal fragments. Inside, Captain Lyra fell to one knee but grabbed the railing to stand again. "Don't give up. Keep firing. Keep." Another hit. The deck cracked. Air began to leak from a torn panel. Alarms screamed. Rami looked at her. "Captain, we can't win this. The ship is dying." But Lyra didn't answer. Instead, she looked at the small glowing button near her seat, a button no one outside the human fleet even knew existed. "A trap," she whispered softly. "Let them come closer." The alien fleet surrounded the Horizon's Edge, weapons charged, ready to finish the kill. Krev's voice echoed through the comms. "Human vessel, surrender. You fought well, for a dying species." Lyra smiled, a cold, tired smile. "You have no idea what you've just walked into." And she pressed the button. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the stars themselves seemed to move. Behind Horizon's Edge, space shimmered. Massive human warships uncloaked one by one, black and silver giants that dwarfed even the Xeron fleet. Their cannons glowed like suns. The Xeron sensors went wild. Multiple ships. How are they here? Captain Lyra stood tall. "You wanted humanity's weakest ship. Congratulations. You found it." Then, over the comms, the cold voice of Admiral Juno came through. "This is Task Force Echo. All units, fire." The silence of space exploded into chaos. Beams of light crossed the void, slicing through the Xeron ships like paper. One by one, they burst into flames and vanished into the darkness. Krev's command ship was the last to fall. As his hull melted away, he realized too late, the horizon's edge was never bait by accident. It was bait by design. Back on the small ship, alarms stopped. Smoke filled the bridge, but Lyra smiled through it. Her crew looked around in shock, half alive, half amazed. Romy whispered, "Was this planned?" Lyra nodded slowly. "We knew they'd come for weakness. So we gave them weakness. And they fell for it." Outside, the last Xeron wreck drifted into the void, silent and broken. Humanity's weakest ship floated beside it, scarred but still standing. But as the stars calmed again, Lyra looked at her screen and frowned. Another signal appeared, one not human, not Xeron. Something else was watching. Something bigger. And this time, she wasn't sure the trap would work. The battlefield was silent now. Pieces of Xeron ships floated in every direction, glowing faintly in the darkness. The smell of burnt circuits and melted metal filled Horizon's edge. The crew sat in silence, breathing heavily, still trying to believe what had just happened. Captain Lyra looked at the main screen. Her reflection showed a face covered in soot, eyes sharp and tired. "Report," she said quietly. Romy wiped sweat from his forehead. "Shields gone. Left engine offline. But we're still here." A weak laugh came from somewhere in the room. It spread softly among the crew. For the first time in hours, they smiled. They had survived what should have been impossible. But then, the screen blinked again. A new signal appeared, faint, distant, and not human. Romy frowned. Captain. I'm picking up something strange. Long-range sensor just caught a pulse. It's not Xeron. Frequency unknown." Lyra turned toward him. "Could it be another ship?" He shook his head slowly. "No. It's something bigger. Way bigger." The laughter stopped. The entire bridge went silent. Only the soft hum of broken machinery filled the air. Outside, Admiral Juno's flagship, Tyrant's Dawn, approached the damaged ship. Her face appeared on Lyra's holoscreen. "Captain Lyra, good work. You did exactly what we needed. The trap worked perfectly." Lyra nodded, but her voice was uneasy. "Admiral, we're detecting something new. Unknown origin. Coordinates uploading now." Juno frowned as the data streamed in. For a moment, she didn't speak. Then her eyes narrowed. "That's impossible." "What is it?" Lyra asked. Juno exhaled slowly. "Those coordinates, that's deep within the void zone. No known signals ever come from there." Before Lyra could reply, every ship's comms crackled. A deep, low sound filled the air, like a heartbeat echoing through metal. The lights dimmed. Then, a voice spoke. It wasn't human. It wasn't Xeron. It wasn't even clear if it was one voice or many. Humans still fight like insects. Yet insects survive. How curious. The bridge froze. Romy's hands trembled on the controls. Who is that?" No one answered. The Admiral's voice came through, strained. "All units, full alert. Unknown contact inbound." In the distance, the stars began to disappear. A massive shadow blocked their light. The shape moved, slow, smooth, and silent. It wasn't a ship. It was something alive. The sensors screamed warnings. "Massive gravitational field detected." Lyra gripped her chair. "How big is it?" Romy's eyes widened. "It's not possible, Captain. It's the size of a moon." The creature, or machine, no one could tell, floated closer. Its surface shimmered with shifting patterns, like liquid metal alive with light. "You set a trap for the Xeron," the voice said again. "Now you are the bait." Every human ship aimed its weapons, but Admiral Juno shouted, "Hold fire! We don't know what it wants." But Horizon's edge didn't wait. The small, damaged ship shook violently as if pulled by invisible hands. "Captain!" Rami yelled. "It's dragging us toward it. Full reverse. Now!" Engines screamed but failed. The ship began to move toward the dark mass, piece by piece. The hull groaned under pressure. Lyra slammed her hand on the console. "All power to thrusters." Nothing changed. Then, a flash, white and blinding, filled the screen. The creature vanished. The pulling stopped. The stars returned. Everyone gasped. "What just happened?" Rami whispered. Lyra didn't answer. She stared at the screen, where strange glowing symbols now flickered, symbols no one recognized. They were burned into the ship's systems like a message. Admiral Juno's voice returned, softer now. "Lyra, your ship has been marked." "Marked?" "Yes. Whatever that thing was. It knows you now." Silence. Then the signal cut off. Juno's fleet suddenly jumped to hyperspace, all of them, leaving Horizon's Edge alone again. The crew panicked. "Admiral's gone. They left us here." Lyra clenched her fists. "They had to. If that thing tracks us, it'll follow anyone near us. We're on our own." Rami swallowed hard. "So, what do we do?" Lyra looked out at the stars. The strange symbols still glowed faintly across the console like a heartbeat. "We find out what it wants," she said quietly. "Because if it knows us—" She looked up, her eyes full of quiet fire. "Then we'll make sure it never forgets humanity again." Outside, the last pieces of wreckage drifted through space, silent witnesses to a trap that had worked, and a new threat that was just beginning. And somewhere beyond the black void, something vast stirred again, watching. Waiting. The stars looked calm again, but no one on Horizon's Edge believed it. The ship floated quietly in the black, surrounded by silence that felt heavier than before. Every sound, the hum of the damaged engines, the faint crackle of static, made the crew tense. Captain Lyra hadn't moved from the command chair in hours. Her eyes stayed fixed on the symbols glowing faintly on the screen, strange, shifting shapes that pulsed like veins of light. "Any progress decoding it?" she finally asked. At the back of the bridge, Lieutenant Rami sat surrounded by wires, glowing screens, and fragments of translation code. His hands were shaking slightly. "It's not a language, Captain. At least, not one we know. The symbols keep changing shape. Every time we record them, they rearrange themselves." Lyra frowned. "Are they reacting to something?" Rami nodded slowly. "To us, maybe. To our voices. Or even to the ship's systems." Lyra leaned closer to the screen. The symbols flickered, and for a split second, she thought they formed a human word. "Hello." Her breath caught. "Did you see that?" Rami looked up, wide-eyed. "I did. It spoke." The screen flashed again. More words appeared, broken but clear enough. "You. Trap. Strong. Small. Interesting." Lyra whispered. "It's talking about the battle." "Captain," Rami said softly, "I don't think that thing is a creature. I think it's ancient tech, maybe something that's been asleep out here for centuries." Before Lyra could answer, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the room again. The crew stiffened. The voice returned, deep, distant, and echoing through every wall. "You fight with traps. You survive. Good." The crew froze. Then the message continued, slower this time, as if thinking. "Others did not." "Others?" Lyra asked. "What others?" The symbols pulsed brighter. "Many species. Many fail. You. Different." The ship systems suddenly powered on by themselves. The navigation display flickered, showing a new set of coordinates, deep inside the void zone. Rami swallowed hard. "Captain, it's giving us a location." Lyra stared at the map. The coordinates pointed toward a dark region of space, completely uncharted. "It wants us to go there." Engineer Tessa, her face pale and voice trembling, spoke up. "Ma'am, we're barely holding together." One more jump, and this ship could break apart. I know, Lyra said. But if this thing wants us there, maybe we'll finally get answers. Rami hesitated. Or maybe it's a trap, Captain. Lyra gave a tired smile. Then let's see how it feels to be trapped. The ship prepared for hyperspace. The engines coughed and roared weakly, lights dimming across the corridors. The jump felt different, rougher, longer, like they were being pulled instead of moving. Then, suddenly, it ended. They arrived in darkness. Real darkness. No stars. No planets. Only a black void that seemed endless. Are we inside something? Rami asked. The sensors didn't respond. Every system flickered as though being scanned. Then, out of the black, faint blue lights appeared. Hundreds, maybe thousands, forming massive shapes around them. The crew gasped. It wasn't empty. It was a graveyard. Colossal ships floated in every direction, alien designs, broken and silent. Some looked ancient, others far more advanced than anything humanity had ever built. Rami whispered, "There are dozens of species here. All gone." Lyra felt a chill crawl down her spine. So this is what it meant by, others did not. The screen flashed again. The symbols returned, now brighter, almost burning. They came. They fought. They failed. You survive. Why? Lyra straightened. Because we adapt. Because we don't give up. The lights on the alien wrecks flickered once, almost like a heartbeat. Then the voice spoke again, softer, curious. Maybe. You worthy. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Worthy of what? Rami asked under his breath. Before anyone could answer, a massive beam of light shot from the void and struck Horizon's edge. The ship shook violently. Alarms blared. Captain. Power levels rising. It's charging something into the core. Lyra shouted. Cut the connection. I can't. It's overriding the systems. The ship's metal groaned and twisted as the light grew stronger, wrapping around it like liquid fire. Then, silence. When the light faded, the crew stared in shock. The damage was gone. Every crack, every burn mark, every broken system, repaired. The ship looked brand new. Rami whispered, "It fixed us." Lyra's screen lit up one final time. "Now you ready? They are coming." The voice vanished. The symbols faded. Lyra felt her stomach tighten. "Who's coming?" she whispered. But there was no reply. Only the endless darkness and the cold hum of the ship's engines, reborn, stronger than ever. Outside, deep in the black void, something massive began to move. Something even the ancient voice feared. The darkness of the void pulsed like a living thing. For a few quiet seconds, the crew of Horizon's Edge just stared at the repaired metal walls, trying to believe what they saw. The ship that had been broken and dying minutes ago now looked perfect. Smooth hull, bright lights, humming engines. But no one celebrated. Captain Lyra stood in front of the main window. Beyond the glass there were no stars, only black waves of shadow moving like smoke. Her voice was calm, but her hands gripped the railing tight. Status report. Rami checked the readings. All systems online. Hull integrity, 100%. Power levels higher than the original specs. Captain, this ship isn't ours anymore. The crew exchanged worried glances. Tessa whispered, "That thing changed everything. What if it did more than fix us?" Before anyone could answer, the sensors began to scream again. A deep vibration rolled through the deck, slow, rhythmic, like footsteps echoing across space. Rami's eyes widened. Something's entering the void zone. Multiple objects. Massive. How massive? Lyra asked. Each one's the size of a continent. The air on the bridge felt heavy. Outside, the black mist shifted, and glowing red cracks appeared across it, like eyes opening in the dark. Then shapes emerged, long, thin creatures of metal and stone, moving as if swimming through air. Their bodies shone faintly with molten light. The computer's voice stuttered. Unknown entities detected. Data corruption. Unable to classify. One of the shapes drifted closer. Its surface was covered in carvings, symbols similar to the ones that had spoken through the ship. But these were twisted, broken, angry. Tessa gasped. They look like the same tech, but corrupted. Lyra nodded slowly. Then that's who's coming. The ones the voice warned about. The radio crackled with static. Then, a sharp tone filled the ship, short bursts, almost like a language. Rami's translator worked quickly, projecting shaky text across the main screen. Children of the Makers, you stole the gift. Lyra stared at the words. They mean the repairs. The power upgrade. Another line appeared, colder now. Return it, or be erased. The crew fell silent. Everyone looked to Lyra. We can't give it back, she said firmly. It's part of the ship now. Maybe part of us. The deck trembled again. Outside, one of the giant creatures opened what looked like a mouth. An enormous ring of burning light. Energy gathered at its center. Captain, they're charging a weapon. Rami shouted. Evasive maneuvers. The ship dove hard to the side. The beam fired, white and blinding, and missed by meters. The shockwave slammed into Horizon's edge, throwing people from their chairs. Lyra hit the comms. All stations. Prepare for combat. Rami protested. We can't fight something that size. Lyra's eyes narrowed. We couldn't fight the Xeron either. But we did. The ship's new systems glowed, waiting for orders. Lyra pressed her hand against the console. The symbols from before reappeared, soft blue this time, pulsing gently beneath her fingers. Let's see what you can do, she whispered. Energy surged through the ship. New weapons unfolded from hidden panels along the hull, sleek cannons of pure light, never seen before by human design. Fire! The cannons roared. Beams of silver light cut through the darkness, slamming into one of the creatures. The impact made it scream, a sound that felt more like an earthquake than a cry. The creature shattered into fragments of black glass that drifted away, burning like dying stars. The crew cheered, but the victory was short. More shapes emerged, dozens of them, surrounding the human ship. Rami muttered, There are too many. Then we make it count, Lyra said. Target the cores. Keep moving. The battle turned chaotic. Light and darkness clashed across the void. Every hit from the creatures tore pieces of reality itself, opening glowing rifts that showed stars far away. Horizon's edge twisted between them like a dart of silver fire, firing shot after shot. 2 more creatures fell, but one beam finally hit the ship dead on. The bridge exploded with sparks. Alarms screamed again. Shields failing. Tessa cried. If we take another hit like that. Then we won't, Lyra said. Rami, can we use the new energy core? He hesitated. We don't even know what it does. Neither do they. That's our edge. Do it. Rami slammed his hand onto the control. The symbols around the bridge flared bright white. The ship vanished. For one terrifying second, there was nothing, no sound, no sight, only darkness. Then the horizon's edge reappeared behind the enemy swarm, glowing like a newborn star. The creatures turned, confused. Lyra raised her hand. Now. All weapons fired at once. The blast was silent but immense. A wave of pure light that cut across the void, erasing everything in its path. When it ended, the darkness returned. Only silence remained. The crew stared out the window. The enemy was gone. The ship floated alone again. Rami whispered, Did we just win? Lyra didn't answer. She looked down at the console where the blue symbols had turned red. New words appeared, slow and final. You used the core. The seal is broken. Tessa frowned. What seal? Then, from deep below the ship, something massive answered with a sound that shook their bones. A sound older than stars. Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. We didn't end the war, we just woke it up. Outside, far beneath the glowing wrecks, a crack opened in the void itself, an endless red eye staring upward. The light from the blast still hung in space like frozen fire. The crew of Horizon's Edge watched it fade, breathing hard, hearts pounding. For a few seconds it felt like victory, until the universe itself seemed to breathe back. A low rumble rolled through the void. The stars flickered. The screens on the bridge shook with static, and the floor trembled under their feet. Rami stared at his monitor. Captain, something's opening beneath us. Lyra looked out the window. Far below, a line of red light split the black. It spread wider and wider until it became a circle, an endless hole glowing like molten metal. The ship's sensors screamed. Gravitational anomaly. Energy level. Unknown. Danger level. Maximum. Tessa whispered, "That's no weapon. That's a door." The crew went silent. They all felt it, the pull of something huge, ancient, and alive. From the red circle, shadows began to rise. Not ships this time. Not creatures. Shapes of light and darkness mixed together, each the size of a city. They had no faces, only outlines that shifted like smoke. The voice that had helped them before returned, weak and broken. You used the core. The seal kept them asleep. Now they come. Lyra stepped closer to the screen. Who are they? The first war. The ones who made and destroyed everything. The void was their prison. The connection cut off. Rami whispered, "We woke gods." Lyra took a slow breath. "Then we run before they notice us." But the ship didn't move. Every engine indicator flashed red. The controls felt heavy, frozen by invisible hands. The red circle below widened again. One of the rising figures turned its gaze toward Horizon's Edge. The ship's hull groaned, as if under pressure from miles of water. Panels cracked. Lights dimmed. "Captain!" Tessa shouted. "Whatever it is, it's looking right at us." Lyra's mind raced. "Can we use the new core again?" Rami shook his head. "It's empty. That blast drained everything." The giant shape opened what looked like a mouth. A line of blinding white light formed inside. "Brace for impact." The beam fired, but never reached them. At the last second, a blue shield appeared around Horizon's Edge, absorbing the energy and scattering it across the void. The crew looked around, stunned. Where did that come from? Tessa gasped. A new voice filled the room, clear and human, but not from any of their radios. "You don't know me, but I've been watching. You weren't supposed to activate the core yet." Lyra frowned. "Who are you?" "Admiral Juno," the voice said. "But not the one you spoke to. I'm the original. The fleet you met was a simulation. The trap was never for the Xeron, it was for them." The crew exchanged shocked glances. Rami whispered, "A simulation?" "Then the whole fleet was created to hide the real humanity," Juno interrupted. "The true colonies are far beyond the galaxy's edge. We sent Horizon's Edge as bait, to see if the seal still held. And now we have our answer." Lyra's throat tightened. "You used us." "Yes," Juno said softly. "And now we need you to finish what we started." Before Lyra could reply, the image of Juno appeared on the main screen, flickering, digital, her face older and tired. Behind her, hundreds of massive human warships stood ready in the light of a distant sun. "We can't reach the void from here," she said. "You're inside their prison now. But you have the key, the core. Recharge it. Close the gate." Rami stammered. "Recharge it? With what? We're out of power." Juno smiled faintly. "With yourselves. The core responds to living energy. It feeds on choice, courage, will, sacrifice. That's why it chose humans." The image faded. The void rumbled again. One of the colossal beings swung an arm the size of a mountain toward the ship. Lyra turned to her crew. "We know what to do. Link the neural interface to the core." Tessa hesitated. "Captain, that could kill us." Lyra gave a small, tired smile. "Then we make it count." They connected the cables. Blue light filled the bridge, flowing through every console, every wall, every person. Memories flashed. Childhoods, dreams, laughter, fear. The ship began to glow from the inside out. Outside, the creatures roared as the horizon's edge rose slowly above them, wrapped in burning light. The red circle began to shrink. The ship's power readings climbed higher than ever before. Rami screamed over the noise. "Core at critical. Captain, it's going to." "Hold it." Lyra shouted. "Hold it until the gate closes." The circle kept shrinking. The monsters screamed louder, reaching upward. But the light was stronger. Finally, the red glow collapsed in on itself and vanished. Silence. The ship floated in empty space again, smoke drifting from its hull. The crew was still, half-conscious, the lights dim. Rami looked up weakly. "Did we do it?" Lyra smiled faintly. "For now." But as the stars returned, a final line appeared across the console in glowing white letters. 1 gate closed. 6 remain. Lyra leaned back, whispering. "Then the war is just beginning." Outside, far beyond the galaxy, a faint echo answered. 6 pulses of light blinking in the dark, waiting. The void was quiet again. The black hole that had swallowed light and hope only moments ago was gone, leaving behind cold, star-filled space. Horizon's edge drifted slowly, its hull glowing with soft blue cracks that faded like cooling metal. Inside the bridge, the crew lay slumped in their seats, exhausted but alive. Alarms blinked weakly. The air smelled of smoke and ozone. Captain Lyra opened her eyes first. Her body ached, but her mind was clear. "Status," she said, her voice rough. Rami forced himself upright, blinking at his console. "Engines, online, barely. Shields at 30%. Core stable but sleeping." He looked around, disbelief on his face. "We're alive." Tessa gave a shaky laugh. "That makes no sense. We used everything." Lyra smiled faintly. "Maybe that's what it wanted, to see if we'd give everything." Silence settled over them. The view outside was peaceful, almost too peaceful. No monsters. No rifts. Only stars. Then Rami frowned. "Captain, something's different. We're not in the same sector anymore." "What?" He pointed at the screen. The constellations were unfamiliar, brighter. "Coordinates show we've jumped at least 32 light-years." The ship moved on its own. Before anyone could answer, the comms crackled to life. A familiar voice came through, broken but clear. "Horizon's Edge, this is Admiral Juno, the real one. We're reading your signal. You did it." Relief washed over the bridge. Lyra exhaled slowly. "Admiral, the gate's sealed, but there are more." The message said 6 remain. "We saw it," Juno replied. "The pulse reached every human relay. The ancient network has awakened. Those gates aren't random, they lead to the First War's burial sites. If the others open, the universe won't survive." The crew went quiet. Tessa whispered, "So we started a countdown." "Not yet," Juno said. "But time is short. Every gate holds fragments of the same power you used. We'll need you to locate them, one by one. No other ship can handle the core." Lyra's jaw tightened. "Understood." The Admiral hesitated. "Lyra, we didn't expect anyone to make it this far. Humanity owes you." Lyra glanced around at her crew, tired, bruised, but smiling weakly. "We'll collect later, Admiral. Right now we need fuel, repairs, and a miracle." "You'll have both," Juno promised. "A recovery fleet is on the way." Hold position. The signal faded. For the first time in what felt like ages, the bridge went quiet without fear. Some of the crew laughed softly, others cried. They'd survived again. But Lyra didn't relax. Her gaze stayed fixed on the main screen, where the 6 faint pulses still blinked at the edge of the map. 6 stars, each marking a gate. Rami noticed her expression. You think they're active? Not yet, she said. But soon. He nodded. Then we'll be ready. The sound of repair drones filled the corridors. Panels resealed, broken wires reformed. The ship itself seemed to heal, as if the strange technology inside it remembered how. Hours passed. The crew worked in silence, patching systems and cleaning debris. In the med bay, Tessa checked the neural damage from linking to the core. Their readings showed something odd. Their biosignatures had changed slightly. When she told Lyra, the captain simply said, "Then it wasn't just the ship that evolved." Later, alone on the darkened bridge, Lyra stared out at the stars. Her reflection looked older, harder. "Computer," she said softly, "show the nearest gate." A glowing dot appeared. It pulsed like a heartbeat, deep within a dense nebula. Estimated travel time? 17 days at full speed, the computer replied. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. Then she whispered, "Set course." The engines hummed, stronger than before. Outside, the horizon's edge turned slowly, its hull gleaming with faint symbols, the same ancient language that had once spoken to them. In the distance, hidden behind the nebula, something watched. A faint shimmer of movement rippled through the dust clouds, an unseen presence, old and patient. It whispered in a voice no human could hear. "The key has moved. The next seal will break soon." Back on the bridge, unaware of the watcher, Lyra took her seat. "Let's go find the next one," she said quietly. Rami smiled. "You ever get tired of saving the galaxy, Captain?" "Every day," she said, a small grin forming. "But someone has to do it." The ship leapt into hyperspace, leaving a streak of light behind. For a long moment, the stars were calm again, until, far away, one of the 6 distant pulses blinked faster, as if answering the call. 17 days later, the horizon's edge glided silently through a storm of glowing gas. The nebula was alive. Electric threads of energy danced like veins of lightning across purple mist. Every flash made the crew flinch. Each one felt like a heartbeat from something enormous hiding inside. "Radiation stable," Rami said, scanning the console. "But gravity waves are increasing. Whatever's inside that nebula isn't natural." Captain Lyra stood behind him, hands clasped behind her back. "It's another gate. And it's awake." The rest of the crew fell silent. The last time they saw a gate open, half of them nearly died. This time, they weren't sure if they could survive it again. The ship broke through a cloud wall, and there it was, a colossal ring of dark metal floating in the mist, spinning slowly. Blue energy flowed through its runes, glowing brighter with every second. The gate hummed like a living thing. Tessa whispered, "It's charging." Lyra frowned. "No, it's listening." The bridge lights flickered. A deep vibration ran through the ship, not mechanical, not physical. It felt like a voice. A pulse of soundless language echoed in their heads. "Humanity returns. The warden ship carries the key." Everyone froze. Rami looked at the captain. "Warden ship? What does that mean?" Lyra stared at the glowing ring. "Maybe we weren't supposed to destroy these gates. Maybe we were built to guard them." Before anyone could respond, the ship's AI activated on its own. The calm female voice spoke for the first time since the last battle. "Core awakening. Sequence 2 detected. Authorization confirmed. Captain Lyra, designation, Warden of Threshold 2." Alarms blared. The ship's hull began to glow, same as before, the ancient patterns spreading like veins of light. "Rami, stop it!" Lyra shouted. "I'm trying." The system's locked. The view outside changed. The gate wasn't just opening, it was projecting something, a memory. The mist cleared to reveal a battlefield from centuries past. Giant ships fought across the stars. Alien titans clashed with machines that looked eerily human. Whole worlds burned. It was the First War. Tessa whispered, "We're seeing history." In the vision, one ship stood out, sleek, silver, with markings that matched Horizon's edge. Its captain looked almost identical to Lyra. Rami stared, stunned. "That's you." The vision spoke in that same deep voice. The wardens were created to hold the gates. When the old ones fell, humanity was chosen as their inheritors. You were never weak. You were chosen because you endured. The vision faded. The nebula darkened again. The gate pulsed once, then twice, and went still. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of systems resetting. Lyra sank into her chair, her mind racing. "We were never supposed to destroy them," she said quietly. "We were meant to keep them sealed, forever." Rami turned to her. "Then what happens if they all open?" Lyra looked at the map. The remaining 5 gates were glowing faintly. "If they open," she said softly, "the First War begins again." The ship's AI spoke once more. "Warning. Other gates responding. Unknown fleets converging." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Humanity wasn't alone anymore. The signal from the first gate had awakened something. Perhaps other wardens, or something worse. Lyra stood, her voice calm but strong. "Then we move fast. Plot a course for the next signal." Rami hesitated. "Captain, if the wardens were created by the old ones, then what does that make us?" Lyra looked out the viewport. The stars seemed to move, alive and watchful. "Maybe we're what comes after gods," she said quietly. "Or maybe we're just their mistake." The engines roared to life. The horizon's edge turned toward the next gate, streaking into hyperspace. But deep behind them, in the silent nebula, the gate flickered again. A shape emerged, a dark, angular ship, alien and massive. Its hull bore no markings, only a single glowing eye that opened slowly, watching the direction the humans had gone. A voice, cold, ancient, and amused, whispered through the void. "The wardens have awakened. The cycle begins again." And just like that, the nebula went dark. The horizon's edge moved into the stars, carrying a crew who now understood their purpose. Not conquerors, not explorers, but guardians of something far older and more dangerous than life itself. Humanity's weakest ship had survived the impossible. But now, the real war was about to begin.